In Revelation chapter 2 and 3, Jesus addressed 7 different churches that are located in modern Turkey. Today, I'm standing in Izmir, which is Turkey's 3rd largest city and is populated by about 3 million people. But in Bible times in the 1st century, then under Roman rule, this was known as Smyrna. Then it was populated by about 100,000 people. It was located on the Aegean coast with Pergamum to the north and Ephesus to the south. The 3 of those different cities were constantly fighting between themselves about which was more grand and bigger and better. Throughout history, this place has always had an interesting relationship with death and mourning. For starters, the Greek word Smyrna is spelled almost identical to the spice myrrh. Myrrh was a spice that was used in antiquity with the burial process. In the Gospel of John chapter 19, John tells us that after Jesus died, his body was wrapped in linen cloth, and a mixture of spices and aloes his body was anointed with, and that in that mixture was myrrh. So that kind of just further gives support that myrrh was used in the burial process. In keeping with the theme of death and sorrow, several famous early church leaders were actually killed for their faith here in Smyrna. Probably the most famous among them that you may have heard of was Polycarp. Polycarp was the bishop of the church here in the 2nd century, and he was actually martyred for his faith in Christ at the age of 86. The Romans brought him to the stadium, and in front of an approving crowd, they actually burned him at the stake. The story goes that miraculously, as he was being burned at the stake, the flames did not consume him. Unfortunately, the executioner was ordered to stab him to death anyways. There were other believers who witnessed the account, and they wrote a letter to a neighboring church. And in that letter, this is what they had to say. I'm going to read an excerpt. So Polycarp looked solemnly at the whole crowd of lawless heathen who were in the stadium. He motioned toward them with his hand and said, "Away with the heathen." But when the magistrate persisted and said, "Swear the oath and I will release you," "Revile Christ," Polycarp replied, "For 86 years I have been his servant, and he has done me no wrong. How can I blaspheme my king now?" How beautiful and powerful is that? What a beautiful expression of faith, even in the midst of difficulty. Jesus told the church at Smyrna, "Be faithful unto death, and I will give you the crown of life. He who has an ear to hear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. The one who conquers will not be hurt by the second death." You see, the Christians here at Smyrna were one of only 2 churches that Jesus not only didn't have anything negative to say about their faith, he actually praised them. He said that, "I know that you're poor, but you're actually rich. You're rich in things that actually matter in life, such as faith." What a spectacular display of authentic faith that Polycarp and the Christians here at Smyrna displayed. In the course Growing Through Failure, chapter 1, there's a chart called the problem chart, and it breaks down from top to bottom some of the problems that you've had with your life and why those things have taken place. At the very bottom of that chart is what's called the root cause. And it tells that every addiction, every broken thing, every broken relationship, every dysfunctional thing in your life has taken place because of that one root cause. And that root cause is this: when you do things your way instead of doing things God's way. So let me ask you a question. Are you sick and tired of getting the same results that you have with your life? A series of brokenness and dysfunction? Are you tired of doing things your way? I'm going to be honest with you. Until you decide to do something different, you're going to continue to get the results that you always have. The beautiful thing about God and His grace and mercy towards you is this, that when you're willing and ready to come to Him and to surrender your life to Him, He wants to empower you so you don't have to live a life of dysfunction. The thing is, you've got to come to the end of yourself. That root cause tells us, when I do life my way, I'm going to get poor results. But when I give my life over to Christ, I can have better results in life. So the question is, are you going to continue to do life on your terms, your way? The Bible tells us that pride comes before the fall. If you're going to continue to live in pride, you're going to continue to get the same results. I really want to challenge you here at your time at Adult and Teen Challenge. Lay down your life, humble yourself, and I promise you, God's way will deliver a better lifestyle.